4th District State Representative Julie Alexander. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Bert.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, Tim Walberg was here yesterday,
Oh, okay.
and they're taking like a 6-week break in Washington. Nothing's happening. How about in Lansing? Did you take a break?
Well, no, we still work regularly. I was up in Lansing yesterday for a couple of meetings. I've met recently with the Secretary of State's Chief of Staff, some individuals that wanted to talk about some upcoming legislation, issues that affect Jackson, our community. Today, I stayed in Jackson thus far today, met with County Commissioner Daniel Mahoney, had a wonderful lunch getting caught up with him. So this gives me the opportunity to do a deep dive into legislation that we're considering, issues that affect our constituents, but they are working in Lansing at the current time on the budget. They continue to make progress. There are some major challenges, but they are dealing with them. We as legislators are all on standby and are prepared to be called back to Lansing as soon as they have come to an agreement.
Yeah, I heard Superintendent Beal ask you about the budget because the school fiscal years started on July 1 and state budget starts on October 1.
Correct.
But they need to know what the state's going to be giving them in order that.
Yes, and for the last 8 years they have had that information. But with the new governor, with that additional time that's needed there, with the conversation being not only about budget but road funding, what's that solution going to look like? There are many of us that find it difficult to increase the tax on a gallon of gas by 45 cents. So we're looking at what other options might be available.
Yeah, I think the new governor gets a pass in her first year of the first term to have a little more time to get the budget done, right?
Sure.
Well, you've been busy in the district. I know. Well, I've seen you in a lot of parades and
a lot of festivities here in our Jackson community. A lot of fun things to do.
Well, you brought along some pictures of some of the things that you've been up to. And it sounds like even though you have retired from farming, it seems like you're out on the farm a lot.
I am. So this is last Friday at MSU as the chair of House Agriculture Committee. I took advantage of going up to MSU for the day and learning more about technology and innovation that is used by our Michigan farmers, looking at the drones, the apps, soil sampling, being good stewards of our land, what techniques and tools are available. So it was an interesting, fun day to learn more about MSU. We're very fortunate to have Michigan State University's ag program. Something that's unique is we are right there on campus in that orchard talking about the challenges our fruit industry is having. Again, with the very, very bitter cold winter and then the wet spring, the challenges that brings. So here we are on campus, and again, it's unique for MSU. Not all agriculture universities have their land attached to the actual campus. So that is a plus that MSU has.
Huge land, huge farmland.
So we've been out knocking the last couple of weeks. Again, you mentioned, Bart, what are we doing right now? Well, my team and I spent quite a bit of time also just knocking on doors. As your state legislator, it's important for me that you know what we're working on. And the highlight here was this gentleman. I knocked on his door. He was out in his garage, actually. He is 94 years old. He is a Marine World War II veteran. So we spoke for quite a while, and I asked him to come up and visit me in Lansing. I would be honored to have this gentleman or anyone up to Lansing, to the state capitol, because again, it's your capital, to have you there and acknowledge you, introduce you, and celebrate you, especially our veterans. And there aren't many World War II veterans left.
No, every day we're losing them.
Yeah, if you know that gentleman, call him, encourage him as well. So recently, the Optimist Club invited me to their luncheon. They celebrated 4 high school seniors. We have 3 of the 4 right there that received a scholarship from the Optimist Club. So learned more about what the Optimist Club does for our community and also to celebrate these young individuals heading off to college.
Yeah, thanks Optimist Club.
All right, so here's my fun selfie. I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist there. So I am hauling bales of straw back home to the farm here.
What's the difference between straw and hay?
Straw is used for bedding. hay is used for eating. Cattle, livestock eat it. So stop and think about that for a second. People will say they're on a hay ride, all right? But really it was probably a straw ride, because why would someone let you sit on something that they're going to feed their cattle versus something that's just used for bedding? A lot of people use straw for their gardens. Maybe they're going to put a grass seeding in and they want to keep the seed down and in case of a rain to hold that moisture in as well. So yeah, I still work on the farm as well. This weekend we had a big family party on Sunday. My father turned 83, so we had everybody out to the farm, and our family's just growing and growing. So it's nice to take a little family time there too.
Neat. You mentioned that you had a meeting with the Secretary of State's Chief of Staff.
I did.
I have some suggestions for the Secretary of State's office.
Excellent. Well, then I have a favor to ask of you, Bart.
Okay.
I am going to ask that you email me that suggestion. Here was my walk away after meeting. I've had several meetings actually with her staff, and I have found them to be very receptive to whatever ideas or insight we can offer. So they are asking me to pass on information from those that I serve here in the Jackson community. What we know is that we have one of the busiest Secretary of States in the entire state here in Jackson. They have over 1,700 transactions every week. They know they're very busy. They acknowledge their challenges, but they're asking for people to reach out to them, sharing what their wait time was, specific incidences. So I am asking you, and I'm asking the listeners to email my office. Again, that would be Julie Alexander at house.mi.gov. Tell me about your Secretary of State experience. Tell me the day, maybe the time of day that you went in, how long you waited, what the challenges were, what suggestions, insight you might have. They're being very receptive to those conversations. They acknowledge that they have a problem. They are looking at a variety of solutions.
Well, I haven't been there in a while because I've been able to do a lot of it online.
Yes.
But every once in a while, you're going to have to show up there.
And the main reason you're going to have to show up, I brought this flyer, comes inside your mailings from Secretary of State, but everyone by October 1st, 2020 will need a real ID. And that is got that little star on the corner of a gold star on your ID card. So why would you need a real ID versus just a regular driver's license? And that's in case you need to fly. That's a federal mandate in order to fly and or go into federal facilities, a nuclear power plant, or a U.S. military base. You would have to have that real ID. So in order to get that, you physically have to, you're checking, aren't you?
I don't have
You don't have one. It'd be on the top right-hand corner where that star would be. That means you're going to have to go into Secretary of State sometime before October 1st, 2020. And
I'll plan my vacation days.
well, there are options. Here's what the Secretary of State suggests. There are about 4 ways you can simply walk in and wait. They are sharing with me that the normal wait for the last few months has been over 3 hours.
Ah, really?
Yes, and I get phone calls because I give my cell number out to all the constituents. I get a lot of people calling, very upset, or Facebook messages, or I hear from a lot of people. So if that's the normal rate, they are working at bringing that down. They've made some staffing changes, which they say now it's about an hour wait. I will tell you, we brought a truck out of storage when we were running wheat, and I discovered that the tab was not on that license plate, but I checked. I knew I had mailed it in. I don't know if that sticker just didn't come in or it just didn't actually make to the truck that had been in storage all winter. So I had to go in last week, and I thought it's a perfect example. While I was in the green room just here a few minutes ago, I called again to see how long of a wait to get in. I was in and out in an hour, but I went very early in the morning, so that is a lower wait. Secretary of State is asking that you schedule an appointment. Now here's the challenge. When you go online to schedule the appointment, it could be up to 3 weeks before you can get in. And that's what I shared with them. People don't plan 3 weeks in advance. So first thing you've got to do, Bart, you've got to get Karen on top of this because she's got your calendar under control, right? So she's going to schedule you an appointment and plenty of time to get that new ID. So going online and scheduling an appointment is what they prefer. Now, some people have become more used to texting for an appointment. They will not let you text to be put in line until after 11 o'clock in the morning because that was being done so much in the morning that it put everything off. They still would rather you go online and schedule an appointment rather than texting or just walking in, because by going online, you're going to tell them what transaction you need to perform. They're going to tell you what materials, pieces of ID and identification you might need. Then they can plan accordingly. Is that a 3-minute window visit or is that a 15-minute window visit? That's going to help them plan accordingly.
Well, as bad as it is, it's much worse in other states. And my sister and her daughter went to get their driver's license
Okay.
in North Carolina, and they don't have any option to sign up ahead of time or make an appointment. They just show up and they wait and they wait and they wait, and then if they wait comes to noon, everyone leaves the office, they shut it down for 2 hours, and then everybody has to come back after lunch and get in line again. It's a whole day to take
That does not seem fair or right. And let's face it, people aren't happy about giving their own dollars to buy that license or whatever transaction they have to make. It's not some place that people want to be to start with. And then when you've got to write those checks, significant checks, and you've got to wait. It's very frustrating. I will say though, the branch hours, they close one evening at 7 o'clock, the other evenings it's 5 o'clock. If you are in that building at that point in time, they do wait until all the individuals are taken care of before they go. But again, the Secretary of State is simply requesting that you schedule an appointment by going online. If you, and I get a lot of complaints from individuals, they're not online, so they do have a number. It's 1-888-767-6424, and again, you can just get that number, call, and ask to schedule an appointment. But I'm again asking if you have a story that you'd like to share with me. Julie Alexander at house.mi.gov, and I am more than happy to pass that on to the Secretary of State staff. That's what they are asking so that they understand our challenges here in Jackson.
Great. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. 64th District State Rep, Julie Alexander. Next,